Peacemaker Season 2 has just finished, and it was alright. I didn't think it was anything mind-blowing or insane, but it was cool, and I had fun watching every episode, whether that was from the funny jokes or the character dynamics in the show, because same as Season 1, they were great. I feel as if this season was honestly just a setup for the future projects of the DCU. The main one being Man of Tomorrow, since the ending really says all. The first couple episodes was good, but honestly slow. I mean, with how James Gunn retconned the DCU and changing it so that it was the Justice Gang was actually pretty funny. And I think a lot of DCEU fans were mad about that. But I didn't really care about that. And I honestly thought that was the best change they could have gone with. Because I think there was people talking about how, like, Season 2, like, those predictions before the trailer came out, that Season 2 might be about Chris getting into the DCU universe. So I speculated it was going to be something like that, but it wasn't. And I'm glad it wasn't, since that would have been... I don't know how I would have felt if that was it. Like, the type of plot they would have went for. So I'm kind of glad they didn't go for that. I also enjoyed the whole aspect of this season, still covering Chris's depression and showing that his sadness, like he was hiding behind the mask. It takes an approach that I had guessed, but like what was going to happen, which was Chris stumbling in a world while he was drunk, and that world being a so-called perfect world with his dad and brother all alive and well. And I gotta say, those scenes like actually do like hit you, and they really hit me. Especially when he was like, you know, crying in episode 7, and that scream really actually, you could feel the character's emotions. And that is also just like John Cena's amazing acting, because man, he is such a good actor from how he's grown over the years. I feel as if one of the main problems with this season is that, like, speaking of episode 7, they could have had a lot more episodes to breathe. Since in episode 7, it's the only episode where the gang is in Earth X, and they just move past it instantly. Well, it was like a good episode, as people were saying on, you know, Twitter or any social media. I feel as if they could have stayed in that world for a couple more episodes, since it was literally just like 30 or 40 minutes just to wrap up World X. And I feel as if it was just one of the main problems with TV shows in general nowadays, with how they're mostly limited to like 8 episodes and no longer to how it used to be back in the days, where it was either, you know, they could do how many episodes they wanted, like either 12 or 13. Maybe even 16 episodes if it needed to be that long. I will give this season some praise though, especially with the ending being pretty cool and crazy, that he's trapped in another world now, with, from what I could assume from the sound effect, was that he's in a dinosaur world, and that Superman and Lex will probably have to work together to get him out of that world. I still hope we see these characters again in future projects for the DCU, not just Peacemaker, because man, one of my favourite parts about Peacemaker is the characters, since they're all so engaging and fun, especially Vigilante stealing the show from me too, but everyone else also being really entertaining too, like Adebayo. I found out recently, because I don't really read the comics for Peacemaker and stuff, not like these types of superheroes for me. That I read comics for, but I found out Adebayo is actually, apparently she's like, you know, a new character. She's not from the comics, and she's actually a really engaging character. I really like her a lot. She's a really well fleshed out character, especially with, like, you know, the usual cast like Hardcore, John, Judo Master, and all of them, even Rick. Like, they're all really entertaining, and you know that, like, there is obviously like some weird plot lines in this season too that come from these characters, like this random eagerly killer that was actually there, and he just kind of felt there, and it just felt really unnecessary. I also didn't really like some parts in the finale, how they made Rick Flag evil just randomly out of nowhere. This cartoon evil villain, I wasn't really insanely interested by this. I wasn't really insanely impressed by this, and I wasn't annoyed like other people, but I could see why they were upset. I do definitely think, while I'm speaking about this, the finale is incredibly overhated. Like, it's not amazing, definitely, but it's 100% a solid finale. I feel like people are hating way too much, and I think they just expected more insane build-up, which I can understand from that. And it was, like, since they got a whole place now where it's called, like, Checkmate This Building, and the whole gang is there now, which seems fun and a cool setup to what will come next. Maybe James Gunn will do a Checkmate show instead of continuing Peacemaker, since, as I'm recording this video, James Gunn has actually said that he has no plans to make a Peacemaker Season 3 anytime soon. So probably this might be a true conclusion to Peacemaker, and in general it was a pretty good finale. Like, I don't see how it was really bad at all, and in general it was just a good show. Like, I really like Peacemaker, it's a pretty good show. But anyways, that's all I really have to say about Peacemaker Season 2. I overall thought that it was decent, but it could have been better, like a lot better, because the first season was great. I loved the first season, and this season wasn't horrible. It was just decent, and it felt more of a setup than anything. Still had great moments and really enjoyable characters as usual from Gunn. You know, the story, it felt on track. It didn't feel like it was going off topic sometimes, even though the pacing felt a bit slow and fast in some areas. Like I did say, Earth X, and that could have been a lot longer, but then they were like stretching out the last episode, because the last episode's like an hour long, but I feel like they could have condensed some of that down into maybe part of that being part of the Earth X finale, not just wrapping it all up in the episode before it. I don't know, maybe they could have done that, but I don't know. So I'm going to give Peacemaker Season 2 a solid 6.5, or maybe a 7 out of 10 if I'm generous. It was solid. Nothing else to say from that. It wasn't as horrible as people were saying. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.